has the story for you from PDX.
Suzanne Bonamici and Kurt Schrader, two of Oregon's U.S. representatives, stood alongside a TSA union rep after meeting with federal airport workers in Portland. They say the time has come to end this shutdown.
Here in Portland and across Oregon and across the country, this is unacceptable that our federal workers are being told not to work, or they're being told to work without pay.
The government shutdown could affect around 10,000 federal employees in Oregon. Some are not getting paid. Many are still required to show up for work.
My hat's off to these men and women willing to come to work with no pay, no light at the end of the tunnel, thanks to the president. It should be a bipartisan exercise to fund the government. We passed all these bills once before. Let's just pass them again.
Airports across the country are reporting that TSA workers are calling out sick instead of coming to work for free. So far, it's not a big problem here at PDX.
We have very dedicated people who are coming here, who still come to work. The fear is that as this continues, they may have to go seek other employment.
Jim Hummel is a former commercial airline pilot. He says that with a missing paycheck on the horizon and no end in sight to this ongoing political showdown, he worries about the already stressful jobs getting worse.
I'd worry about the air traffic controller issuing directions or whatever to us and missing something in the process, because in the back of his mind, something else is at the forefront.
The representative said they spoke with a number of agents. One said that they've had to donate plasma just to earn some extra money to make ends meet. If this shutdown lasts until Saturday, it would become the longest in U.S. history. At PDX, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.